Would you have gone over and intervened? This lady actually went to security.
Yeah.
She's posted this on her Facebook, and obviously this has gone crazy. But would you go and intervene straight away?
I 100% would. I think that's one of the cruelest things I've ever seen. I mean, what was wrong with holding her hand, putting her hand on the trolley? To actually wrap her hair around that was absolutely... It really, really was the most shocking thing I've seen.
So what would you have said?
I would have gone over and said to him, what are you doing? There's no way you should be doing that to your child. I've intervened quite a few times over the years when I've seen, like, parents smacking their child or whatever. I was in IKEA once and there was a man, he had a little girl in the little seat thing in the trolley and another little girl at the side, and he started whacking her really hardly on the legs. I said, oh, don't do that. I said, you're a lot bigger than her, aren't you? Why would you want to do that to a little girl? And he didn't say anything. He just looked really embarrassed and sort of walked away, you know. And I'll do it if I see people hitting dogs as well. I cannot bear to see them. Like, I've seen them out and, like, really... And the dogs are, like, carrying
Are you not frightened that somebody might turn around and whack you?
It doesn't even come into it, you know. When you see it, you just see red and you just have to say something.
The thing is, I think that's great, but I wouldn't intervene. I would definitely go to security and the manager of the shop and point it out and say, you know, I want it dealt with. But especially where that was, which is in America.
In America, yeah.
You know, every second person in America's got a gun. It seems, and I would be terrified in America of going up to anyone. And anyone that's that brutal and that cruel is the type that will turn around and knock you out.
It's when I read that the little girl was going, I'm sorry, I won't, I promise I won't do it again.
And then he is quoted as saying that 3 of his children were disruptive in the store and it was his way of disciplining them, which just sent a cold shiver through me, because I thought, this isn't... I mean, there's no excuse, but it's not like, oh, he's just done this one. This is his way of disciplining his children, and that is just...
He's not saying, oh, I'm sorry, I should never have done that, I lost my or whatever. He actually thinks that what he did was right.
Yeah, well, the Cleveland police chief, we got in touch with them, and he says, after meeting with the family and the county child advocacy group, we felt that the risk level is low. Further investigations into any past behaviour by this father, none were found. We will be forwarding this hair-pulling incident to a prosecutor, though, for review. So they're saying they did look into it. There was no previous abuse charges against him or any indication that he'd been cruel to his children. So, you know, they have followed that through. And
it's not really a hair-pulling, though, is it? It's dragging around the supermarket by her hair.
It's public.
I know, And she's crying. I mean,
if you did that to an adult, what would be the consequences? Why is it OK to a child? Oh,
that always amazes me, because exactly that. You couldn't go up and pull someone's hair in the supermarket because they were annoying you, could they?
No.
But yet to a child,
and
you
also,
can hit
as
them.
Parents, we've all been in that position when they're younger and you're in the supermarket and you've had a full day of it and they're driving you mad.
Oh, yeah.
But if you ever thought, oh, I'll just go and grab the hair, you know,
tie the hair
you'll
around,
tell them off, or...
I'll do a little squeeze of the hand to let her know.
It's amazing how few people...
I remember once, Maddie had a major meltdown with Mark, when she must have been about 3 or 4, and they were going into the cinema, and she had a full-on tantrum, and he thought, no, I'm gonna be firm, very unusual, and we're not gonna go to cinema because the behaviour's been terrible. Picked her up, and he walked all the way through the shopping centre with her screaming, horrible man, horrible, screaming, shouting, kicking, and all the way through, in the lift, into the car park, put her in the car, screaming in the car, having to force her in the car. Not one person stopped him.
Not one.
Not one. And we always talk about that. We say, just imagine if somebody had been actually trying to abduct her.
You'd take a child, yeah.
So I think that we have to take the risk, even if we think, is this just a parent? I think you just have to take the risk and go up and say, is everything all right?
We've had a lot of comments from you on this already. I haven't got time to read them all. Steph says every adult has a duty of care to safeguard children. If you see it, then it has to be reported there and then. It's sad that people won't intervene for fear of consequences.
Yeah, Becky says, I would not intervene because it's not my place to. I wouldn't like someone telling me how to reprimand my child, but I would report it, something like this, to the police, but not actually intervene myself.
I think there's a difference, isn't there, between saying somebody reprimanding, saying, you do that again, you'll be going home, or, you know, even a tap on the legs, which, you know, but that, with their hair wrapped round the trolley and the child screaming.
So distressing.
No, it's really awful.
There's another one, though, to make us think. Sarah, I'm in 2 minds on this subject. I have a son with autism, and he has had major meltdowns in shopping centres, etc., and I've had to restrain him from being violent. had very unhelpful busybody trying to tell me I was a bad parent.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, that's hard. That's hard,
Think
isn't
again,
it? Because
think
that
again.
person doesn't know that child has autism
Yeah.
and thinks
Yeah.
you're being cruel. So if you've enjoyed that, then why not click here for more? And don't forget to subscribe by clicking here so that you never miss out on the best Loose Women moments.